Let's wax about the eponymous debut from Yellow Magic Orchestra. Released on November 25th, 1978, Yellow Magic Orchestra is the debut from Japanese supergroup Yellow Magic Orchestra as produced by Harry Hisano. This is quite the tale, and I'm going to try and do it short, so here we go. After the disbanding of the popular Japanese folk rock band Happy End, bassist Haruyumi Hisano, along with a small selection of musical friends, recorded his first solo album, Hisano House. The album featured the psychedelic folk rock sound his previous band was known for, while delving into the musical worlds of tropical and exotica as well. During this era, classic pianist and composer Ryuichi Sakamoto was a student at the Tokyo National University of Fine Arts and Music, working on his BA and MA, studying ethnomusicology as well as electronic music. Available on campus, he began to experiment with the Moog, ARP, and Buchla synthesizers, while also acquiring session work. Also happening at the same time, drummer Yukihiro Takahashi joined the glam rock band the Sadistic Mika Band. Attracting popularity outside of Japan, the band enjoyed moderate success in the early to mid-70s with their brand of funk-laden glam rock. Through the mid-70s, Haruyumi, also known as Harry, would release several more albums touching on the exotica and tropical flavor of Hisano House, going even further into these genres. Often working with his Happy End band member Shigeru Suzuki, Hisano's aim was always synthesis and subversion, taking these styles and turning them on their ear in various ways. For the album Paraiso, he corralled members of his loose collective of session musicians known as Tin Pan Alley, as well as the talents of Sakamoto and Takahashi. The album was released in early 1978 under the moniker Harry Hisano and the Yellow Magic Band, a subversive tongue-in-cheek reference to Japan's obsession with black magic. To understand the formulation of Yellow Magic Orchestra, you have to understand and appreciate what a year 1978 was for the collective. Simply put, these guys put in work. Starting with the release of Paraiso, the next album to be released was the debut solo album from Yukihiro Takahashi entitled Sarava, a collection of French-inspired pop. The record was produced by Hisano. Alongside Paraiso session musicians Shigeru Suzuki and Tatsuro Yamashita, the album Pacific was released at the same time as Takahashi's Sarava. Later on in the year, Hisano released Cochin Moon, a soundtrack album to a fictional Bollywood movie based on a trip to India. The album was the first fully electronic album from Hisano and employed the talents of Ryuichi Sakamoto, Hiroshi Sato, and Hideki Matsutake, another colleague who was previously the assistant to electronic composer Isao Tamita. During the recording and release of Cochin Moon, Sakamoto was busy at work on his debut solo record. Entitled Thousand Knives of Ryuichi Sakamoto, the album included some input from Hisano, but the bulk was Sakamoto and Matsutake, using an arsenal of synthesizers and sequencer equipment, including the then brand new Roland MC8 sequencer. During the recording of Thousand Knives, Hisano had an idea to create an instrumental disco band that would be able to reach beyond Japanese markets. After reaching out to several session musicians, he finally formed up with Sakamoto and Takahashi, and he called the one-off project Yellow Magic Orchestra. Continuing the practice of subversion, the album was created as a means of exploring Orientalism and tropical themes, now through the use of electronics and synthesizers. Opening with the samples of video game sounds from Circus, Space Invaders, and the like, the chiptune-esque orgy gives way to their first hit, Firecracker, which became a surprise R&B hit in America. Songs like Simoon and Cosmic Surfing holds true to the exotica flavor, while songs like Tong Poo and other tracks on side 2 give a glimpse into the new wave in Japanese city pop, creating technopop, a variation of synth pop that they would help create alongside a host of influential Japanese artists of the day. With Hisano on bass, Takahashi on drums, Sakamoto on synthesizers and piano, and Matsutake programming it all, the record was an innovation at the time and would go on to influence music worldwide. The one-off became so successful that they would eventually put their solo careers temporarily to the side and focus their energies on making the studio band a live unit, bringing in Hideki Matsutake on synthesizer programming and guitar, and Akiko Yano on keyboards and synthesizers. Yellow Magic Orchestra would begin touring and would gain moderate success in America, even a few years later gaining the distinction of being the only all-Japanese band to be featured on Soul Train. Japanese businessmen, stand up, please. While their solo careers would pick back up and they would collaborate with other musicians across the world, Yellow Magic Orchestra would continue to forge ground until their breakup in 1984. Ever since then, they've become legends in their own right and have even reunited a few times. 1978 proved to be a fruitful year for the collective, but it was the last album release of the year that would make them a worldwide success. Waxed!